You wake up, already behind. The day's challenges loom large, and you press on, thinking toughness will save you. But toughness has its limits. You felt it. Those moments where everything feels like it's falling apart, and no matter how hard you push, exhaustion creeps in. You keep moving, though, fearing that slowing down means failure. But what if there's a way to be strong without burning yourself out? Stoicism holds wisdom on enduring adversity, but self-compassion is the overlooked key to surviving the battle. This is the story of balancing relentless strength with a gentler, more powerful force. So let's start with our first lesson, which is the whisper of fatigue. You push through the day, tired but determined. Each task is another hurdle, another test of your endurance. And as you sit in front of your laptop late at night, you feel it, the whisper of fatigue. It's not loud, but it's persistent. You ignore it, telling yourself you'll rest later, once you've crossed the finish line. But the finish line keeps moving. The next task, the next goal, there's always something. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Yet, you've been reacting to your fatigue as though it's an enemy to be defeated. The real battle, though, is knowing when to listen to it. Fatigue isn't weakness. It's a signal, a reminder that even warriors need rest. Imagine a marathon runner who never stops to hydrate, convinced that slowing down is a sign of weakness. But you know how that story ends. They collapse long before the finish line. Self-compassion isn't giving up. It's recognizing that endurance is about strategy, not blind force. The next time fatigue whispers, instead of pushing harder, consider this. Could rest make you stronger? The moment you stop seeing fatigue as failure is the moment you unlock a new level of strength. Second, the weight of expectations. Every day, there's a voice in your head, whispering that you should be doing more, achieving more. The weight of expectations presses down, heavier with each passing hour. You juggle deadlines, relationships, personal goals, all while trying to maintain an image of control. And when things slip through the cracks, the guilt comes crashing in. But here's the thing. Those expectations are often self-imposed. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The real battle isn't with your tasks or responsibilities. It's with the expectations you've created. You hold yourself to impossible standards, convinced that perfection is the only acceptable outcome. But here's a thought. What if true strength isn't found in perfection, but in progress? The toughest thing you can do isn't meeting every expectation. It's letting go of the ones that are suffocating you. Imagine a climber scaling a mountain. If they carry too much weight, they'll never reach the top. The smart climber knows when to let go of unnecessary burdens to reach greater heights. Self-compassion is your chance to drop the excess weight. It's not about lowering your standards. It's about choosing which battles are worth fighting. Third, the enemy of comparison. You scroll through your phone, watching others' lives unfold in front of you. Their success, their achievements, they seem to handle everything with ease, while you struggle to keep up. You're not just competing against yourself anymore. You're competing against everyone, and in that race, you always feel like you're falling short. Comparison is a thief. It robs you of the energy you need to focus on your own path. Seneca said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." But when you're busy comparing yourself to others, you stop learning and start chasing. You chase their version of success, their achievements, their timeline. But here's the truth. Their path isn't yours. What if you stopped running someone else's race? What if you focused all that energy on your own journey? Imagine a runner who constantly looks to the side, distracted by the competition. They lose speed, trip, and fall. The real victory comes when you realize that your only competitor is the person you were yesterday. Self-compassion isn't about accepting less. It's about realizing that your value isn't defined by someone else's success. The shift happens when you stop looking sideways and start moving forward on your own terms. Fourth, the hidden power of pausing. You've always believed that momentum is everything. Keep moving, keep pushing, and eventually you'll break through. But there's a problem. Momentum without direction leads to burnout. You've been running so fast, for so long, that you don't even know where you're headed anymore. The idea of stopping, even for a moment, feels like defeat. But Stoicism teaches a different kind of strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What if the obstacle isn't something external? What if the obstacle is your refusal to pause? You've seen it before. Athletes who train relentlessly, only to injure themselves because they refuse to rest. They're tough, no doubt. But toughness without self-awareness is a recipe for self-destruction. The hidden power of pausing is that it allows you to reflect, recharge, and redirect. Imagine being in the middle of a storm. If you keep running blindly, you'll never find shelter. But if you stop, even briefly, you can find your bearings. Self-compassion is the pause button you've been ignoring. It's not about giving up. It's about gathering your strength for the next, more strategic move. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is stop. Fifth, the trap of endless improvement. You're addicted to self-improvement. Each day, you wake up with a new plan to be better than yesterday. But somewhere along the way, improvement became an obsession. It's no longer about growth. It's about proving something. To whom, you're not even sure. But the pressure is there, constant, gnawing. The Stoics believed in progress, but not at the expense of peace. "He who is everywhere is nowhere," wrote Seneca. You've spread yourself so thin in the pursuit of endless improvement that you've lost sight of why you're improving in the first place. The trap of self-improvement is that it convinces you you're never enough as you are. But what if the goal wasn't to be perfect? What if the goal was simply to be better than yesterday without the constant self-criticism? Imagine planting a tree. You water it, give it sunlight, but you don't check its growth every day. You trust the process. That's the secret to meaningful progress, growth without obsession. Self-compassion is the antidote to the self-improvement trap. It allows you to improve while accepting that you're already enough. The shift happens when you realize that real growth doesn't come from constant pressure. It comes from nurturing yourself along the way. Sixth, the silent power of saying no. You're used to saying yes to every request, every demand, every opportunity that comes your way. Saying yes feels like the only way to prove your worth, to show that you can handle anything. But with every yes, you stretch yourself thinner until there's nothing left to give. The Stoics believed in focusing on what you can control. Epictetus taught, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Yet, you've chained yourself to obligations that aren't even yours. The real freedom lies in the word you've been avoiding. No. Saying no isn't weakness, it's power. It's the strength to choose where you focus your energy. Imagine an artist with a limited palette. They can't paint every scene, so they choose carefully what to create. You, too, have limited energy. Every yes you give takes away from something else. The silent power of saying no is that it gives you back control over your life. Self-compassion is about knowing your limits and honoring them. It's about recognizing that saying no doesn't mean you're not capable. It means you're choosing what truly matters. The strength of saying no is the key to unlocking a life of purpose, not just productivity. Seventh, the quiet strain of perfectionism. Perfectionism is sneaky. It disguises itself as ambition, as drive, as the desire to be the best version of yourself. But over time, perfectionism becomes a weight you can't put down. You're always on edge, waiting for the next mistake, the next flaw, the next moment where you fall short. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." You've spent so much time trying to live up to an ideal that you've forgotten to actually live. Perfectionism doesn't lead to greatness, it leads to paralysis. Imagine a sculptor so obsessed with making the perfect statue that they never finish carving. That's what perfectionism does. It keeps you stuck in a loop of almost. The real strength lies not in perfection, but in progress. Self-compassion allows you to embrace the imperfect, the messy, the flawed. What if you accepted that mistakes are part of the process? What if, instead of striving for flawless, you aim for real? The quiet strain of perfectionism loses its grip when you realize that being human is enough. The toughest thing you can do is let go of perfect and embrace the power of imperfection. Eighth, the battle between discipline and self-kindness. You've always prided yourself on your discipline. Early mornings, strict routines, and pushing yourself harder than anyone else. Discipline has gotten you far, but there's another voice you've ignored, the one that says it's okay to be kind to yourself. You fear that if you let up, even for a moment, everything will fall apart. But the Stoics didn't believe in punishment, they believed in balance. No man is free who is not master of himself, Epictetus said. Discipline is about mastery, not self-destruction. The battle isn't between being disciplined and being kind to yourself. It's about realizing that the two can coexist. Imagine a bow pulled so tightly that it snaps. That's what happens when discipline becomes too rigid. The real mastery lies in knowing when to ease the tension. Self-kindness isn't weakness. It's what allows you to maintain your discipline over the long haul. The toughest warriors know when to rest their weapons. Self-compassion is what allows you to stay in the fight without losing yourself. The battle isn't about choosing between discipline and self-kindness. It's about finding the strength in both. That's where true resilience lies. Ninth, the silent sabotage of guilt. There's a constant feeling lurking in the background. Guilt. Guilt for not doing enough, not being enough, not achieving enough. It's a silent sabotage, slowly eroding your confidence and energy. You think that guilt will drive you to do better, but in reality, it's weighing you down. The Stoics taught that guilt is a useless emotion. Once something has happened, it's out of your control. Yet, you cling to it, thinking that if you just feel bad enough, you'll somehow atone for your perceived failures. But guilt is a trap. It keeps you stuck in the past, unable to move forward. Self-compassion is the antidote to guilt. It allows you to forgive yourself for your mistakes and keep going. The shift happens when you realize that guilt isn't helping you. It's holding you back. The toughest thing you can do is let it go and allow yourself the grace to start again. 10th, the cycle of strength and rest. You've been running at full speed for so long that you've forgotten what rest feels like. The world glorifies the grind, telling you that if you're not constantly pushing forward, you're falling behind. But the Stoics understood that strength is a cycle, not a constant state. You push, you rest, you recover, and then you push again. Without rest, the push becomes destructive. You can't burn endlessly without turning to ash. Self-compassion is what allows this cycle to continue. It's not a weakness. It's a recognition of the body and mind's limits. When you allow yourself to rest, you're not giving up. You're preparing for the next push. The strongest warriors are not the ones who never stop. They're the ones who know when to pause. Burnout comes from misunderstanding this balance. True strength is in knowing when to pull back so that you can come back stronger. Rest is not the end of the journey. It's the preparation for the next phase. Strength isn't solely about relentless pursuit. It's a dance between resilience and self-compassion. When you learn to embrace vulnerability and silence the inner critic, you unlock the true power of being human. In this journey, rest becomes a strategy, and saying no transforms from guilt to empowerment. As you step forward, remember, the most formidable warriors are those who know their limits and rise after every fall. Embrace this balance, and you'll discover not just endurance, but fulfillment. If you found this perspective refreshing, explore more about transforming challenges into triumphs in our other videos. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel to keep this journey going.